here we go, I think. Yep, there's the green little box there. How's it going, everybody? This is the Osmo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show. We've got an 11-game slate to talk about today, and it's a good one. So some softer pricing. You're not going to have trouble building your lineups if you're talking about over on DraftKings. And then on Yahoo, there's some pretty good values as well. I'm joined, as I am on most Tuesdays, by Nolan Kelly. How you doing, Nolan?
What's going on? Just trying to get down from 100% Victor Hedman right now.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for a lot of people, I think. There's a few defensemen, I think, that are kind of head and shoulders above the rest. If you're talking about one-off guys. And after that, I'm just trying to fill in with whatever I can fill in on. But we actually do have something that's free today for NHL specifically, as well as a free giveaway. So want to talk about those after we talk about our sponsor, Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. We love playing over on Yahoo. I've been liking playing these NHL contests, getting into them whenever I can, whenever I can find a few minutes to enter some lineups. Today they've got the $12. Once again, it's a 3-max today, so kind of the perfect amount. If you're not into MME stuff for NHL and you want to get over and play on Yahoo, if you're Canadian, you can play on Yahoo. That's pretty recent. So Nolan's allowed to play over there. I've seen me and him have been battling it out in this $12.
I'm allowed to donate. It's great.
What's that?
Said I'm allowed to donate to you guys. It's great.
Yeah, perfect. I'll donate some as well. It's a little bit different of a play style over on Yahoo if you're talking about NHL with the plus minus and the 2 goalies. But yeah, I mean, it's just I think, to put it lightly, very easier competition over there. You're not going to get as many sharps. So go over there, do that, get involved, play on Yahoo. Osmo is the promo code to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points when you do sign up on your first deposit. Okay, we also have your line changes article is free today. So if you've made that free,
I'll take the premium tag off that.
Yeah, perfect. So do that, and then I will link that once we're set there. Actually, let me just send the link in now. Maybe just don't click on that right away. Wait until Nolan gives you the okay. Just should take a couple seconds. But line changes article, do you want to tell people kind of what that's all about?
Just kind of go through which team skated, which didn't, what the news is, what we're expecting. Sometimes as well, you'll find an edge if the line combos are different than what Daily Faceoff has, because that will mean a lot of people's crunches won't be right, or a lot of people. But hasn't been happening a lot this year, to be honest with you. I feel like it happened way more last year. So we do have some game time decisions tonight and a few line changes, and especially if you're a hand builder, if you're not a fantasy cruncher, if you're not using fantasy cruncher, I think it's probably helpful. It'll help you just not have to look up all the lines. But if you're on fantasy cruncher, they're usually pretty darn good about keeping updated these days. So check her out.
Kind of consolidates all the news of the slate, especially on big ones like today. And so that's why I think it's really important that it's free today, so you guys can kind of see just the little nuances, little edges you can pick up playing NHL DFS, whether you're an MMA player or a hand builder, and using our lineup builder. The article is still set to premium. Did you fix that?
Yeah, just give me 2 seconds here. I'll just change it.
Yeah, just click on that. I'll put it back in the actually, you can click on that, open it in another tab, and then once Nolan gives you the okay, then you can just click refresh and you should be able to see it. We do have an NHL giveaway going on right now, and right now the responses are pretty light, so pretty good chance to win a free Osmo NHL season pass. Guess the player who scores the most fantasy points tonight. It's super easy. You just have to follow the directions, retweet, and then reply. You have to follow Osmo_com and Osmo NHL Twitter accounts, but up to a $280 value if you do guess correctly. Last time, I think no one got Tavares correct, but someone guessed Bishop. I think a bunch of goalies scored around 30. So just be a little different with your guess. Everyone's going to guess the stars, so if you could find someone maybe in a little bit of a contrarian spot, and you might be the only one that guesses them. So if they go off for that multi-point game or a hat trick or something like that, you'll be sitting there probably doing well in your lineup, and then also getting a $280 value on top of that. Premium.
All right, you're good to
is
go.
The premium tag removed?
Premium tag is removed.
All right, perfect. Let me send this in chat one more time. And then we also have the NBA main slate ownership projections. Those are also free today. So if you're playing some NBA, I think it's a 6-game slate, I want to say. It's locks right at NHL.
Sign me up.
What's that?
Said sign me up for some NBA.
Have you been playing NBA?
I play on Yahoo every day. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Not just because of their sponsor, but playing over on those like smaller sites, specifically Yahoo, because they sponsor the show. I mean, it's just a lot weaker competition. So use the tools on the site. If you're a Platinum member, you might want to consider going over and playing NBA over on Yahoo. They do have some really good tournaments. Like these are like some of these tournaments are about as big as what we get for NHL on some other sites.
Yeah.
They've got a 30K baller, 3K to first, nice flat payout structure, lower management fees, all that good stuff. All right. How did last night go for you?
Had like triple the field on Chiari and just couldn't get there. So that's how my night went.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty brutal when that happens. The winning lineup, Boom's buddy, Malmstrom 89, took it down. This is the $15 that they've been running on Mondays lately. O'Reilly, Perron, Pietrangelo. So he had the Perron hat trick. He had the Achari hat trick as well in that same lineup. So he was able to overcome a 1.5 out of Trocheck. Good production from both of his defensemen, Nurse and Pietrangelo. McDavid, Nurse, kind of mini stack, or one-offs if you want to consider it one-offs. And then Saros didn't get too cute in net. Took the underpriced favorite on the road in Saros. 29.3 points. Good construction. McDavid, two-man with Nurse. That's what I would probably call it. Nice 3-2-1 build. Or I guess it would be a 3-3-2 build. Really good lineup. So I ended up beating out myself, Draft Charts, Larry Odo, Testosterone, Mr. Good Seats. If the $1 million in the NFL Live Final was not enough, he's coming back for more, playing some NHL DFS.
Wow.
So I think it was a pretty good night for MMEers because the low-owned guys, Achari, David Perron, and their line mates did quite a bit of the damage. So if you had that combo, you probably did something pretty good. Seth did not have Achari. He was not
good
in
night for the full line stacking last night, eh?
Yeah, exactly. So kind of frustrating that it was a 5-game slate. Like when that happens, usually you want that to happen on a bigger slate where the ownership's even more spread out. Scotty Mac 77 up there again. Is that you? Is that your username, Mac Motivation? He's the guy who gave us the huge donation yesterday. Super generous. So, okay, he had 10 entries in here, $210 profit. Nice job. My top lineup, I think I needed more. What did I have?
Nice. Dude's killing it. Yeah, that's him.
He is killing it. Nice. Congrats once again, Mac Motivation. Scotty Mac 77, I think. Yeah, 77. My top lineup was Jenner, Nyquist, Bjorkstrand. Then the Florida 2 stack with Achari, Roman Yossi, and Seth
Corpusalo. I like it.
Yeah. I had a bunch kind of in the top 20, 30, but wasn't able to get quite up into the top 3 or 5. But good night nonetheless.
Yeah.
On to tonight. 11 games. Soft pricing. Should be pretty easy. We know what the good plays are, kind of like last night. And it ended up working out for me. And it looks like a bunch of the other viewers and a bunch of the top pros actually had a lot of success. Kings, Bruins, 2.1 implied total for the Kings, 3.4 implied total for the Bruins. Jonathan Quick and Tuukka Rask in net. Any news here?
Let me pull it up here. Sorry. Dialing behind here, Jake.
No, you're good.
We got Bruins and...
Bruins, Kings.
Bruins, Kings. Nothing for the Kings. Looks like no change. I think no changes all around here.
Probably doesn't even matter on an 11-game slate. Kings going into Boston, right? I mean, I'm not looking to play these lines really. Are you?
No, I don't think so. Not on the Kings side, anyways. You're gonna play it.
No, I don't think I'm gonna play the Kings. Like I'm probably crunching out like 200 lineups or more, and I don't even know if they'll show up. Like Boston's.
I got 0, so.
Yeah, the Boston matchup, like going into Boston when you've got basically one line that looks usable in LA, like they're gonna get matched up against Bergeron the whole game. Pretty good, basically crossing that out if they're not, if they're showing up. But I don't even think they're gonna show up organically. Anyways, what do we like on the Boston side? Boston one looks pretty underpriced, right?
Yeah, actually, I like Bergeron. Looks like early crunch is going to be my probably highest owned line tonight. They look like they're our highest projected line as well. We're not paying like 8K for them like we were a little bit before. We have value defensemen elsewhere as well. So I think I'm going to get to probably try to get overweight on Boston 1 tonight. I kind of like Boston 2 as well. I don't have their numbers in front of me. I don't know if you agree with that or if you have any hot takes on them, but they seem like that's a pretty talented, cheap line and pretty great filler stack. I don't ever seem to get them right, but I do like them.
Yeah, I feel like Boston 2 is always underpriced, but it's like kind of hard for me to want to play a bunch of Boston 2. Like playing the Bruins without playing Boston 1 just seems not fun, but I'm probably going to get to like 4 or 5% of Boston 2. They're not one of my top fillers, but they're near the top, I guess, for these lines like 15K and below. The line I'm going to have more of is Boston 1. Shocking. They're going to get ownership here because of the solid total, because of the good matchup. Kings goaltending has been pretty poor, so I would expect them to be one of the highest owned stacks. Don't really think they're going to end up deciding my night. If this was if I was building one lineup for the slate, they would certainly be in consideration, though, talking about Boston 1 as the best stack on the slate. So I think we have them projected that way. They always get ownership. They're awesome. Nothing super interesting for me to say on the Boston side here. There's just nothing I want to talk about on the King side, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah, I mean, there's two pretty obvious plays, and yeah, give me some Boston 1.
All right. Any defensemen you want to talk about? Krug, McAvoy, Doughty? No. We don't need to talk about the Kings, I don't think. Krug, McAvoy, Grzelcyk.
No, sorry?
Krug, McAvoy, Setsboy, Grzelcyk.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like McAvoy's kind of, I don't know, McAvoy hasn't done that much this year, but he's getting like 25, 27 minutes. So I like him at that price point. I think that's a pretty good spot. I'm not getting to a ton of them because Osmo still loves, in your projection, still love Travis Hamonic quite a lot. So probably be manually putting in some McAvoy. And Troy Krug really cheap. Don't hate him in some stacks, though he didn't play much last game. He only played 16 minutes. I don't know if he's in the doghouse or what.
Maybe just more of a fluky thing. I don't know. We can check on that after the show. But I think you can play McAvoy or Krug with Boston 1 depending on what you need. Wouldn't necessarily jam either one in, but you can play Boston 1 by themselves without a defenseman too. That's fine. But those are the two guys that I think correlate the best. McAvoy's going to skate a ton with them. He's been getting some points recently, and I think that's why he had been projecting so low. Now he's getting some points. He's going to skate with Boston 1 a ton at home. Yeah. Do
you find the DraftKings has maybe changed their pricing algorithm this year?
I think they have to, right? With the new scoring,
because it seems like they're favoring recent performances far more than they have in the past. So that's why we have a price up.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh 1 and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, super quick to react on prior game performance, 2-3 games. Even one big game.
Give us an edge because we don't really it's nice to play the hot hand sometimes, but at the same time, that's not necessarily predictive, right?
Right. Yeah. And recency bias, if it's all of a sudden a line that's 15K that the next game goes to 17K and it looks like a decent spot, but they're going to get ownership, maybe that's a line you want to get off of a little bit.
The Winnipeg 1.
Yeah. All right. Buffalo, Toronto, 2.8 implied total for the Sabres, 3.6 for the Maple Leafs, Linus Ullmark and Frederik Andersen in net. Any changes here? And then what do we like?
Yeah, so just small changes on Toronto's side. It's the third Timoshov's out, and Kerfoot, Mikheyev, and Engvall are the third line. Tyson Barrie is going to play, and he's on a top pairing. They've got him listed on top pairing with Morgan Rielly, but I think it was an optional or no skate this morning. So maybe just check on that one. Not that it really matters all that much. I'm sure it won't affect their ice time too much. The Tavares line got a ton of correlated ice time, led the slate. So they've basically been moved up to the quote unquote top line now. And I think they're probably going to continue to get that kind of ice time. And then middle six looks like it's being shuffled a little bit in the Sabres. It's Rodriguez, Asplund, and Skinner, VC, Johansson, and Sheary right now. That's all I've got.
So are you getting to either of these lines on Toronto?
I'm not. I'm getting a little bit of Tavares, but and I will play them for sure.
Yeah. So the Tavares line once again is the one I like. I usually just if there's a big discrepancy in terms of price or ownership between the two lines, I'll just go to the lower owned one. But it looks like Tavares, Marner, and Hyman are going to get the Eichel line for the most part.
Mhm.
And we know the Eichel line plays a ton of minutes. It's not like an elite 5-on-5 matchup for the Tavares line, but they've been pretty good defensively so far from what I'm seeing as a trio. And then like Buffalo One, like I said, they're just going to play a ton of minutes. So I already like the Tavares line. I think they project a little bit better as a full stack for us, even with Hyman at almost 5K, which is kind of crazy. But
Do we know, has Sheldon Keefe been hard matching lately, or
yeah?
is he just,
So
yeah.
let me pull this up actually, but I know he did in the last game, and so that's why I was thinking that Tavares is going to get Eichel, Olofsson, and Reinhart, which
of course means that like extra ice time too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, they were against in their last
Draisaitl?
game.
They were on
They were against McKinnon on the 4th. I think Keefe was in charge at that point.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And so that was the one I saw where Tavares hard matched McKinnon, Rantanen, and I think it was Donskoy at that point. So would expect kind of the same thing. Who knows? They lost the game, so maybe they switch it up. But like the Tavares line, I think is just the better line at this point. So I'm looking to play them. What about the Buffalo side? Do you like Buffalo One here? Is this another spot where they're going to burn us? What's going on with them?
I'm on your team, man. I can't figure this team out. It's like every time I one off Eichel, the line goes off, and vice versa. Yeah. So I don't know. What are you doing with them?
So Buffalo One seems like a line I should always be on because I like these teams that aren't great, but they have concentrated scoring and like one stacked up line, like Detroit. I think Ottawa falls into that category. Buffalo certainly. So 2.8 implied total, but like if they score a bunch of goals here, 3 or 4 goals, you would think that Buffalo One's going to perform pretty well. So from that standpoint, like if they're completely unowned, if they come in at like 3 or 4% or something, which I don't think they will, then maybe I would take some shots on them and get overweight, but I don't think I'm going to get to much Buffalo One. Like I said, the matchup against the Tavares line isn't great. They've been pretty good defensively. Can never figure this line out, and you're not getting a huge discount, I don't think. Like this isn't like the Leafs team that we saw the last couple of years too, where they're playing at this crazy high pace and trading chances all the time. Like they've been significantly slower this season, it seems like. So probably off Buffalo One. If they burn me, they burn me, and I'll move on to the next slate. Defenseman for the Leafs, you've got Tyson Barrie and Morgan Rielly. Tyson Barrie on the top power play. He's my guy of choice on the top pairing as well, and $500 cheaper than Rielly. So he's the guy you can go to with either of the top 2 lines for Toronto here. Any objections there?
No objections at all. And just echoing your point, yeah, Toronto like way down in terms of scoring chances against. They were criticized for playing loose, I think, but they were like top 5, I think, last year in scoring chances against and high danger chances against, and now they're bottom 10 in both those categories. So definitely seeing some defensive improvements there. Yeah, I do like. I mean, Barrie. I just opt for Barrie if he's going to quarterback the top power play unit. That's pretty much where I would go with that. And sadly, just can't play Cody Ceci anymore. So.
Yeah, no CC for 3K in the third pairing. All right, let's go to Ottawa and Tampa Bay. 2.4 implied total for the Sens. These are Alex's totals. I need to mention that because you're going to see like 4.5 for the Lightning elsewhere. Alex has them at 4.1. He's more modest, usually on both sides, where like you don't see like a 2.2 total very often. It's probably up in the 2.3, 2.4, 2.5 range, even in these like really one-sided games like this projects to be. So 4.1 implied total is what Alex has for the Lightning. One of the highest totals you'll see all season. Marcus Hogberg expected to go for the Sens. They played last night. I mean, just a brutal spot for them. They gave up 6 goals. Vasilevsky in net for Tampa. What's the big piece of news that we're kind of waiting on here?
Well, glad you asked. Nikita Kucherov game time decision, as well. Tyler Johnson not listed for some reason. Oh no, he is. Never mind. I'm just blind.
Top line with point and plot.
Yeah. So I didn't really write up these lines because like who knows what we're gonna get. I'm assuming it would just go back to the normal lines, or I don't know. But if Kucherov's in, I think we have a couple game time decisions today that are gonna lower ownership, and I think like Kucherov's one of them. I mean, you're probably on this slate. I think you'd probably be looking at him. What do you think? Like close to 20% if he was healthy, and I'm guessing he comes in around 10% or less, if not. So from that regard, I really like firing him up if he goes tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, basically what I was telling some people in the various chats is just that I want whatever the lineup sites have listed is like the opposite of what I want to happen. And that's basically everything with late news in any sport that I'm like plugged into DFS wise. Like you want to be able to react to the late news if you're going to be around. Obviously, if you're building a bunch of Point, Johnson, Palat stacks, yeah, you probably want Kucherov to be out. But I think that's how everyone's going to build. And then you're going to have 20, 25 minutes to react after that. So seems weird that they would risk him being back in a December 17th game against the Sens, where they should be able to clean up pretty easily without him. But if he is in, like, there you go.
Slated this morning, but I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, it does seem like unnecessarily risky.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any risk at all, like if anything happened, like if you sore after practice, like he's just not going to play. Tampa is not a dumb organization. But if he does play, I would expect him to be with Point and Palat, as we've seen lately. Yeah. Johnson would probably move down to, probably the fourth line. Or no, it would probably be Johnson with Yanni Gord and someone else, maybe Matthew Joseph, and then Paquette with Maroon or something like that. Anyways, just be ready to react to this. Tampa 1 and Tampa 2 are like, when I'm running my crunches, they're like two of my top 3 exposed stacks. I don't necessarily know that they'll get to there by time I take out some of the higher owned lineups. But I like Cirelli, Killorn, and Stamkos a little bit better if Kucherov doesn't play. If Kucherov does play, it changes the price points a ton. But I'd probably still have more exposure to Tampa 2, assuming they stick together.
Yeah, I agree with that. Side note, Chris Chelios' daughter is like their play-by-play person or sideline
for Tampa?
Bench reporter or something like that.
For Tampa?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There you go.
He was before my time. Anything on the Ottawa
during
side?
Everyone's time. Dude played till he was like 63.
Oh, did he? Ottawa side? Anything?
No, I got nothing from the Ottawa side, though I'm sure like they're probably a smart play because they're not going to get any ownership. But,
yeah, I wouldn't expect them to get ownership. Kachuk's still at 7,200. Just all of a sudden priced way up with Peugeot and Connor Brown. Priced a little bit down from yesterday, but still expensive compared to some of these other lines. Like
I got 0 in like 150 crunches.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have more than 0 on Ottawa 1. I just like the line. Their numbers are fantastic. I think you can score on Tampa. Like, we're projecting a decent amount of shots against Vasilevsky. They're good at generating offense, even if they're not scoring goals. So I think Ottawa 1 might be one of those lines I get like 3 to 5% of. And, if they pop off for a huge game, I feel like if they score a bunch of goals here, one of those teams where they're like Kachuk and Peugeot and Brown are probably going to be in on a bunch of those goals. So give me a little bit of Ottawa 1 per usual. Don't go crazy with them. I don't think you need to play them like a single.
You're plus EV if you've been doing that all season. That's for sure.
Yeah. They've broken the slate a number of times this season with all their different line combos. Hedman at 5,400, probably if Kucherov doesn't play. Well, I guess people aren't going to play enough Kucherov anyways if he does play, but 5,400 for Hedman seems kind of ridiculous. I'm not the biggest Hedman guy ever, but feels like the algorithm is broken there for whatever reason.
It's because he's had 4 bad games in a row, I think.
Yeah,
so that's fine, and that's part of it. So like I think that's a big question on this slate is like, what are you going to do with Victor Hedman? Because he's going to be like probably 30% owned, 25% owned. Am I being crazy?
No, I don't think that's crazy. I was thinking somewhere in the 20 to 30% range.
Yeah. So at what point, like I'm still in, like I'm not gonna go crazy here because like I do think, I don't know, it's tough because I think in your chalkier lineups, if you were to get away from Hedman, that's probably a smart move. And I think in your less chalky ones, you can just fire up some Hedman.
I think like if you're playing Tampa, he's just gonna be a guy that everyone pops in there, and you should do that. But if you're MMEing, maybe going with like a 3-3 and playing one of these Tampa lines without Hedman might be actually the better way to go based on ownership, because I think it could just be way, way up there. He goes with either of the top 2 lines. He's a good player that people like to play. It couldn't be a better spot for Tampa with or without Kucherov. So just be aware of what you're doing. Like, don't just jam in 2 lines that fit well and then Hedman fits perfectly. Like, you're probably going to get duped, which I hate doing on an 11-game slate like this. So just he's going to be one of the chalkiest players, if not the chalkiest player in the slate. Maybe go down to McDonough if you want to differentiate a little bit, or Sergachev or Shattenkirk, whatever.
That's a good call, actually. Like, those guys are going to go under-owned as a result, probably.
Yeah, this game just depends on whether or not Kucherov plays. So be around your computer or phone at 6:30 Eastern. Preds, Islanders, 2.5 implied total for the Preds, 2.9 for the Islanders. Pekka Rinne and Thomas Greiss in net. Any changes?
Yeah, so Michael Dowd-Cole looks like he's out. I think he left early last game, which caused the Islanders to shuffle a little bit. So Leo Komarov is back, and on a line with Brock Nelson and Beaulieu. Brassard, Eberle, and Lee, and then everything else is the same. On D, my boy Nick Leddy, time to start winning some DFS. He's back. He's gonna be shooting the puck twice a game. They're both gonna go in. It's gonna be great. He's in, and Noah Dobson is out, and Devon Tate's still in the power play one. It looks like.
Leddy hasn't actually been that bad for DFS. Like, I've been playing him a little bit. He's shooting, like, his shot attempt numbers are up a little bit from the last couple of year rates. And the Islanders, I mean, they can score some goals, I suppose. So,
for sure. Nashville on back-to-backs, no morning skate today. I wouldn't expect any changes, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Kind of like some of the Nashville top line. Once again, they weren't fantastic last night, but they are fully correlated on the power play. And once again, going right back to Yossi, he had a huge game, as did Ellis last night. So I think you can play both of those guys against the Islanders. Greiss has been awesome for over a year now, so it's a low total, but I like Nashville one. Just their price looks pretty good. I don't think there's a line that I'm that worried about going up against either on the Islanders side. And then hard for me to love anything on the Islanders. Maybe this Brassard, Lee, and Eberle line picks up a little bit of ownership as a filler stack just because they're cheap, but they're just so spread out, and they already ride their lines so similarly that it's hard for me to, like, take a major stand on any of these Islanders lines.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Nashville 3? What's your take on that? You love Nashville 3 always.
Yeah. Apparently, I don't know. I just remember, like, looking at I haven't looked at the stats in like a week, but they were, like, really popping in our high danger chances and scoring chances as a unit. So they were like beating like some of the best lines. So I mean, I think they're a good filler stack. For me, it's just always comes down to ownership. If they're going to be the most popular filler stack and they're going to get like 3% ownership, and you know that they're coming in with Boston one and with Tampa one or whatever Kucherov plays, then I'm less likely to fire them up.
Yep, 100%. Yossi at 6,600 is bargain.
What's that about? Like, I guess the pricing must have come out before his game last night.
I think, yeah. So the Islanders, like, they're gonna give up shot attempts at least, and like Yossi's just awesome, and he's 6,600. Yeah. He's $700 cheaper than yesterday, and the pricing hasn't gotten much tighter. So I don't know. It's not an optimal spot for him, but it's just such a good price that, like, he's one of the favorites to get like 20 plus DK points. Seemingly,
it's going to be interesting to see where his ownership ends up, because I guess I'm guessing that Hedman brings him down a little bit from where he should be. So if you can find the extra $1,200.
Yep, I will be doing that quite a bit, or even going to Ellis at 5K. I know that's kind of point chasey, but both of those guys grade out pretty well for us.
No, but Ellis, like, people don't roster Ellis.
He was like 4% on a 5-game slate yesterday.
Yeah, I had some like
kind of crazy
Ellis Yossi teams too, and just. That's a good way to go, I think, if you really want to get a little bit contrarian, because I don't think people like to do that very often.
No, I don't even like to do it that much on a big slate, but with those two guys, I think it's probably okay.
Very few. You could probably go Barry and Riley too.
Yeah, could do that. They're playing together at 5-on-5. All right, anything else in this game before we move it on? Pulak, Taze, you mentioned Leddy.
Nah.
All right, me neither.
No.
Ducks.
No Islanders 4, maybe 1.
What's that?
Maybe 1 Islanders 4.
Islanders 4. Cizikas, Martin, Clutterbuck.
I love that
fire. Yeah. None for me, but you can have all the Isles 4 when they break it.
I'll be winning all the money tonight, Jake.
Ducks and Flyers. We've got a 2.5 implied total for the Ducks, 3 for the Flyers. John Gibson expected to go for the Ducks. Carter Hart for the Flyers. This is a 7 Eastern game, so you should know on Gibson. Before lock, new Flyers lines, it looks like.
Yeah, so Lindblom is out. Obviously, sad news there. Konechny off IR and back up on the top line. I kind of like this Philly one line, Couturier, Giroux, and Konechny. You know they're going to get a lot of run. And then Van Riemsdyk back up with Kevin Hayes and Obe Kubel. I don't know anything about that guy. Jakub Voracek is killing penalties, apparently, as well, possibly taking over some of that responsibility on third line with David Case. Is David Case Andre Kasha's brother?
I think it's Kasha. Yeah.
Kasha?
I think someone said that. I don't know if they were trolling on Twitter, but I'm pretty sure they're related.
Let's just see where
maybe
he's
I'm
from.
fooled by the internet. That is certainly possible.
Yeah, siblings, Andre Kasha.
There you go.
I had no idea. Fifth round, 128th overall pick in 2015. So, man, the Kasha brothers killing it. And then, nothing else crazy for the Flyers there. Carter Hart starting, and then the Ducks didn't skate today, but I don't think we're expecting any changes.
How much Philly 1 are you slamming in here? Fully correlated. Couturier, Giroux, Konechny, good line. I mean, underpriced.
Yeah. I like it. I like them a lot. I'm curious to see what ownership's going to be because they're definitely too cheap. I've got about 15% of my first crunch, so that's probably where I'm going to end up. Maybe like 4 or 5 lineups, maybe a little higher than that. But
they're. I think
I like it.
Pretty decent chance they're my number 1 stack. Like overall in terms of exposure, they're going to be up there as well. It just depends on where they are relative to the Tampa lines and maybe a couple other plays, but they project about as well as anyone. Yeah, so cheap. They're awesome at 5-on-5. I don't want anything to do with the line that they're going to go up against. I think it's going to be Getzlaf and Kasha, but you've kind of got a pretty balanced top 6 here for the Ducks. With Raquel and Silfverberg. I still think it's going to be Getzlaf and Kasha that they go up against. So while I love that Kasha's on Getzlaf's line for both guys, this is not the game that I'm looking to roll them out. So I hope they disappoint, get shut down, maybe give up a few goals to Couturier, and then we can fire them up on a different slate. It feels like the Flyers, like the team against the Flyers always has a high total, and I'm kind of puzzled by it. And here, that's just not the case. Like, I don't expect the Ducks to be generating a ton of shots, scoring chances, any of that stuff. So give me Philly 1, and I'm kind of good to move it on here. I guess if you wanted to play 2 or 3 as just filler lines or something like that, that's fine.
Kevin Hayes and JVR at 1% ownership. Why not, right?
Yeah. I love Philly 1 as a pivot to the Tampa lines in like a single entry if you're doing something like that where you're making one lineup or a few lineups and they're going to be lower owned. Philly 1.
I don't think they're going under the radar, man.
Well, I mean, not under the radar, but like if we see one of the Tampa lines at like 20% or something, or if you're in a single entry and you feel like Tampa's going to be 20% and this line might come in at 12 or 13 or something like that, I think that's the spot where you make that pivot.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Any defensemen here? Usually the Flyers I don't like, but
yeah, like Provorov is the most obvious choice, and like probably not a bad play. Not going to get much ownership. I don't know. The problem is like Gostisbehere is still on the top power play unit, but just isn't getting a lot of ice time. Still in the third pairing, so there's no real ideal stackable defenseman here. Sanheim's still, I think, too cheap though he hasn't really done much. So
yeah,
I don't know. I guess maybe he's priced right.
Yeah, Sanheim is the guy I was looking to maybe punt with at 2,700. I'm playing Provorov a bit because I'm going to try to force in some 4-3-1s with Philly 1 just because they're fully correlated and I want to capture the power play upside, especially if it's not Gibson for whatever reason. But yeah, Provorov, Sanheim, and Niskanen are all somewhat interesting to me at their price points. I don't think I'm going to have over like 5 to like 8% of any of those guys though. They're just sprinkles because of the Ducks being a pretty good matchup. Do you like any Duck stacks?
No.
Ducks too? No, not really on my radar either. All right, Columbus, Detroit, 3.2 implied total for the Blue Jackets, 2.8 for the Red Wings. Elvis Merzlikins against Jonathan Bernier. I think both are likely not confirmed. You will know right as lock is hitting, and you could swap if need be. But do we see any changes on either side?
So yeah, Josh Anderson hit IR for Columbus, and Zach Werenski looks like he's good to go. They didn't skate this morning. I think they played last night, right? Yeah, they won. They should have Washington. So guessing he's going to go in the top pairing with Seth Jones. I'm thinking that's just a guess. I couldn't find confirmation, but not that.
I think that's a pretty good guess.
Yeah, exactly. They usually do that. And then Abdicator out for Detroit. Trevor Daley in on defense. Yeah, not super exciting on the Detroit depth lines there, but not a bad spot for them with Columbus coming off back-to-backs, I guess. Kind of maybe flying under the radar.
Yeah. Man, so like I'm struggling with this game.
Exactly.
Like, it's just I like Columbus 1. I want them to be better at 5-on-5. They're good at generating chances, and Bjorkstrand scored last night. They're fully correlated. Maybe they're a line that gets left out a little bit compared to like Philly 1 and the Tampa lines. Maybe they're the line that gets left out because I love them. I love those three guys together, and they're fully, like I said, they're fully correlated. Good total. It's Detroit. They're brutal. The Larkin line's probably going to go up against them, and the Larkin line is brutal defensively without Mantha. I don't think the second line for Detroit's going to be good either. So I think it's going to be a game of good matchups as well. I just wonder if I'm being a fish, like making this play because it's an optimizer play. And maybe they're kind of priced out of the optimizer play range because Bjorkstrand is 5,900 and Nyquist is priced up a little bit more than what we've seen recently. But
finally getting priced.
Yeah, he should. He like his metrics, like his shot attempts are off the charts right now. Yeah,
top 20 or something in the NHL, right?
Yeah,
he's one of the top regression candidates heading into last night, so should have been on him.
And maybe he's just not good at finishing. Like I wouldn't be the guy to ask, but
it's always possible.
Yeah, it seems like he's got the talent.
Still young.
So, who knows? But the Detroit side, if Mantha was back up on that top line, maybe a spend up to be contrarian spot. Fabry up to 5K, Bertuzzi at 5,100. Not really like doing it for me as far as a line I want to go out of my way to target. I think they're kind of priced appropriately. I just hate that they have Larkin and Mantha split up like that. That's really not helpful for what I want to do with Detroit. So I'm probably going to end up under the field on everything Detroit tonight.
I hear you. I'm right there with you.
Hronik on the top power play at 4,700. If you're going to Detroit,
was he there last game or no?
Yeah, I think the last couple. If you're going to Detroit, maybe you take a flyer on him.
I saw somewhere as well that he's going to get increased playing time with Danny DeKaiser hitting IR as well. So
increased role. Yeah, that's what they said. So maybe not a bad spot to jump on him. What about the defenseman on the Columbus side? Werenski 6K, Seth Jones 6,300, really priced up against Detroit here. But do we know who's going to be on the top power play? Whether it's going to be Werenski or Jones?
No, I don't think we know for sure. I would just assume that Jones is going to be, but I have no idea.
Columbus always has problems with their power play anyways, so they always switch things up.
It's just so unreliable.
Maybe a bump down to Savard, possibly. He's still 3,300 though. No Columbus defenseman that I'm really targeting heavily anyways.
Yeah, none of the beats reported anything about him being on the power play, so I'm guessing because they didn't practice, they just won't know, right? But.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Carolina and Winnipeg. 2.9 implied total for the Hurricanes, 2.7 for the Jets. Peter Mrazek and Connor Hellebuck in net. Any changes on either side here?
Yeah, Matthew Perreault injured last game. He's out tonight. Gabriel Bork is going to step up to that third line. And then Yona Luoto is on the fourth line with Nick Short and Logan Shaw. Kind of like, I think Carolina's all the same, kind of like sneaky Carolina two-stack here.
The Aho, Niederreiter, Teravainen line?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always with that. I mean, just good, like lines that
I don't
are
even
good
need to talk to you about it. I just pass it off to you. You'll tell them.
Yeah, like I thought they would come up a ton for me here before I like implemented some extra numbers with the projections and stuff, and they're really not. But my brain tells me that I should be over the field on these guys because
I don't think it's going to take much, man. I don't think anyone's really looking
right. So if they're not coming up, like the way I think about it is if they're not coming up for me, and this is a line that I love and like usually projects really well for us, then I should be trying to force them in if I think it's a good spot, because that likely means they're not coming up for other people either. So
Yeah.
I'm going to
In the
force
last
in some
2 weeks as well, the Jets are dead last in high danger chances against and dead fifth in scoring chances against at all strengths. So something to think about.
So as in they're giving up the most, or
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's scaring me off if anything, but yeah,
Yeah,
the Jets aren't that good of a defensive team, so I'm a little confused. Maybe it's the low total. I don't know. Has this total moved up to like 6 yet? That could be. I don't know. That could sway things.
You're right though. Like if the total's down, we're probably missing something. And like Winnipeg has been really good offensively of late, and so definitely understand the reason for not being. I guess like the Carolina totals moved up. It looks like though from 2.8 all the way to 3.2 according to
Whoa.
the what is it called, Vegas dashboard. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit more likely to put them in because they're only going to be like 2% owned. So
yeah, if they come in and you see Aho at like 3.2 or something, then that'll raise my eyebrows a little bit, and I'll get to some. But I thought this would be a line I'd be making a major stand on, because even if they go up against Scheifele, Connor, Laine, I think that's a really good matchup for them, and I think that's probably the more likely matchup. They're not gonna put Scheifele on Stahl, Svechnikov, and Fogle. Like that's Carolina's shutdown line. So maybe they stick the Lowry, Kopp, Bjork trio on them for a little bit, and the Wheeler line as well. And then I think it's Scheifele going up against Aho, Niederreiter, and Teravainen, which I give the edge to Carolina too in that case. So kind of talking myself into it. So there you go. Carolina 2 it is. Dougie Hamilton, 7,100. What are you doing with that?
Oh, that's a pay up to be contrarian spot if there ever was one.
Yeah, Mac Motivation in chat also agrees. He says, Dougie, $7,100, pay up to be contrarian. So you guys are in sync right now. And so am I. 7,100 for Dougie. Like, just the metrics, the shot attempts, and all that lately have been so high compared to other defensemen. The minutes are good. He's playing 22 to 25 minutes basically every night. Top power play time consistently. And he goes with that Carolina line that we're both on a little bit. So there you go. What about the Winnipeg side?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're fine plays. I don't know, priced up a little bit, but not like crazy like it was a few nights ago. So I think Winnipeg 2 tends to fly way under the radar, and Roslovich gets no ownership. So I'll have some of him tonight and that line for sure. I just like paying for that second line. I don't know. Do you know what their numbers have been like though?
The second line.
Yeah.
I don't have them in front of me, but
and then like the first line's just
they're so expensive, the first line. And like if we're going to a pay up to be contrarian spot, like I think they might be higher owned than like a Pitt 1. And I'd rather go with Pitt 1. I'm choosing between them and Winnipeg 1. So
I don't hate that call.
I like your Winnipeg 2 call. If I'm going to a Winnipeg line, they're going to be a filler stack for me. But who knows? I'm not like Carolina's never projects as a great matchup, regardless whether it's home or away for me. So it's just because I'm playing 150 lineups. That's why I'm getting to some Winnipeg 2, but not one that I would ever get to if I was hand building tonight, I don't think.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's go to Pittsburgh and Calgary. 2.9 implied total for the Penguins, 3.1 for the Flames. Tristan Jarry and Cam Talbot in net. Do we have Pitt 1 back together tonight?
We do not. We do not know. This is one of the great spots on the night. I think if you are you're going to be around your lineups, I would put in a Malkin, Rust, Wenzel lineup or two, and then just be prepared to pivot off them if they don't go. Basically, Rust and Malkin are game time decisions. Malkin skated yesterday. I can't remember what the news was on Rust. I think he's kind of like 50-50. So didn't have a skating update on Rust, but I'm expecting Malkin to go. I would kind of maybe, if I had to bet, I'd say that both of them go. And then like if you want to play them, so they're super expensive, so you're not going to have like a straight swap that's going to leave you with a lot of money on the table. But maybe if you could always like have like, I don't know, you could construct your lineup so that maybe you have like a bargain defenseman like Hamonic in there, and then you take Hamonic out and put in like a San Jose 1 or Vegas 1 or 2, and you're not going to be eating much more cash because you can just plop in a more expensive defenseman like Giordano or something. So that might be the way to approach this. I think, like Pittsburgh won tonight is going to be less than 1% owned if they play. And for GPPs, they're going to play like a ton of ice time together. So
yeah, Pitt won looks great. I mean, especially with the uncertainty, that's going to keep their ownership in check. It's not a huge total, and their price is a little bit restrictive. So all those things lead me to playing a line that has just been one of the best lines in hockey recently. I don't know if I believe that Rust wouldn't be on the top power play if he's in. Like, I think he's probably going to be on the top power play. They'd keep that line fully correlated. But even if he's not, I think Malkin's going to play. I agree with you, especially on him, just because it was an illness thing. It wasn't like an injury. So if he was good enough to skate yesterday, did you say it was yesterday Malkin skated?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I think he's probably going to be better today, and I'm expecting him to play. If Rust isn't in, you can swap to whoever it is, whether it's Dominic Simone, but just leave yourself some chances to swap. Like, we've got a few more games to talk about, so you're going to have opportunities, whether you like a Montreal line or Vancouver or Vegas, San Jose. I know it's not optimal, but keep your options open and leave in some Pit 1 if you've got a handful of lineups would be my advice. I'm certainly going to be doing that. And maybe even more than a handful. Like, this is going to be a line that I might be the most overweight on. The matchup isn't, I don't think it's bad. Lindholm, Mangiapane, and Kachuk have been seeing top competition. Their numbers in about 60 minutes are okay, but as long as they're not like shut down Couturier, like Boston 1 type numbers, I'm fine playing Pittsburgh 1 against anyone right now. They've been that good. So low ownership at all. That's what I like. And I think we might see some ownership on the Monahan line. I usually don't get to a lot of Calgary, but I am. And so I think that they're going to be popular with Backlund at 3,400 playing with Monahan and Gaudreau.
Calgary 8-1-1 in their last 10. Just kind of quietly snuck up.
Are they? Yeah, that's kind of crazy actually. Because they were terrible to start the season.
What's that?
They were terrible to start the season, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you get that psychopath Bill Peters out of there, and maybe things turn around. I actually do. I like the Flame side of this one as well. Like, the flip side argument is like if Malkin and Russ can't go, that's a pretty depleted Penguin squad right there. And the Flames have been playing better of late. And Jari's been Jari, I think
it is. I think it is Jari, but
Jari, yeah, has been great recently. So like that's maybe an X factor there, but. Yeah, I do like the Flames side of this one, and I think maybe that Kachuk line goes under the radar for sure too.
Yeah, I don't know. I prefer the Backlund.
Or just play Giordano.
Well, yeah, you could do that too. He hasn't been really popping up for us all that much. 6,100. Like last year at that price against Pitt, this is like this is just
Hamilton and Yossi are our Burns and Giordano this year, man.
Yeah, we'll talk about Burns at the end. Kind of some dumb news that came out about them not wanting him to shoot or whatever, but whatever. Letang, Marino, I kind of like both of those guys. If you're stacking up Pit 1 and you can fit Letang, sure. I don't love him as a one-off. I prefer Yossi in there and Hedman, so it would just be a way to get different. Marino at 3,600.
Letang won't get any ownership too, so I'm there with you.
Marino,
Schultz priced way down, man.
Who?
Schultz
is 38.
What are you buying into this Hamonic love, by the way?
He
lit it up.
What's that?
Said he lit it up a couple games ago.
Yeah, he just I don't know. He's not great, but you can always donk an assist out of him. Like,
I'm just curious. Like, why do our projections like him so much? You think?
He plays good minutes. He's usually cheap. Block shots. That's really it. Like a good per minute guy that when he's playing 20 plus minutes is probably going to be okay.
I'm going to have an unofficial cap on him tonight.
A cap?
10%.
Yeah. That's not the guy I want to play like 40% of, even if he's coming up like that.
I feel gross. I had like 65 the night he went off, and I was like scrambling to get less. And of course, he puts up like 30.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Montreal and Vancouver. We got a 2.9 implied total for the Canadiens, 3.2 for the Canucks. Carey Price and Jacob Markstrom in net, and some new Canucks lines.
Yeah, it looks like all new Canucks lines. Horvat centering Brock Besser tonight, and also Antoine Roussel. And then Vertanen and Pettersson Miller line was together the last game, I believe. They moved Vertanen up, so I don't know. They'll probably keep that together. Brandon Sutter back. Looks like Pearson all the same. All the D the same. Montreal looks pretty much the same to me. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Canucks had a good game here. This is it's feeling like it's a little gut feeling here, like they might come out gangbusters.
I was gonna smash Pettersson, Miller, and Besser if they were together.
Yeah.
Just because they're more expensive than the Tampa lines. It's a later game. This was gonna be my late night hammer, and I'll still play some Vancouver, but I kind of really don't like these lines.
They're pretty gross. I kind of lean Horvat Besser, but
I do too. Horvat Besser with the cheap winger, Roussel 6,400. They're a little bit cheaper, I think, than Vancouver too. But I just hate paying 71 for Pettersson without Besser on that line. I would have loved to play a ton of Pettersson, Besser, Miller, like I said. But here it's going to be more of a split.
Narrative tonight, man.
What's the narrative?
Carey Price homecoming narrative. Don't mess with him.
He's from Vancouver?
Kelowna, I think. Yeah, right, really close.
There you go. He's not even confirmed to start, but he's probably going to.
I think he was confirmed.
Was he? We're not showing him confirmed. What about the Montreal side? Anything piquing your interest here?
No.
I'm trying to find something I like. Montreal's a team I'm usually pretty high on. Getting some of the Domi line, and then if Deneau, Tatar, and Gallagher, they're one of those lines that if they're just completely being disregarded, that I want some of, and just see if I can get some weird combos. But if they're going to be 3 or 4 or 5% owned, then I'm just not going to worry about them that much.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm right there with you. I'm not super into them tonight. And you can always just get access to this offense with Shea Weber, who's just like a dynamo now. So
yeah, Petrie 4,600, pretty good. I like that. If you're going to the Deneau line as well.
Really?
Yeah, I like Petrie. He's sucked lately, but
why play Petrie when you can play Victor Hedman for $800 more?
Because Petrie's probably going to be a tenth of the ownership.
Fair.
That's why. Let's go to the next game here. Minnesota and Vegas, and then we'll talk about the giveaway. Then we'll go into the Taylor Hall game, last game of the night.
Oh yeah.
Wild Golden Knights 2.6 implied total for the Wild, 3.4 for the Knights. Alex Stalock going up against Marc-Andre Fleury. What do we see here?
So, Mikko Koivu and Jason Zucker are out tonight. Derek Stahl centering Zuccarello and Donato, Parise, Rask, Fiala, Kunin, Luke Johnson, Greenway, and Sturm centering Hartman and Foligno, as well as Spurgeon. Game time decision did skate this morning. If he can't go, Brennan Menel might play on the third pairing. That's about it. A little bit of a weekend side on the Minnesota side of things, and I think everything's the same for Vegas. Maybe they shuffled their third pairing defenseman. I didn't really check. I'll check right now.
I think I'm going to be pretty heavy on Vegas. Both lines, this seems like a spot where, an explosion spot. They're way deeper than Minnesota right now. No Koivu, you mentioned. No Zucker now. Maybe not terrible on the defense. He's not great defensively. But you just look at the difference in depth between the two teams, and I hate choosing between the Vegas lines. If I had to, it would probably be the second line, just because they're a little cheaper. Stevenson probably doesn't get ownership, but playing with those two guys, I think he can get assists at very least. I don't know, man. It doesn't project that well because the Vegas total is in check. But without those two guys, they just gave up 5 goals to Edmonton on home ice. And Minnesota's usually really good on home ice, but seems like a really tough spot to want to play much of the Wild, and a spot where I want to play a ton of Vegas's top 2 lines.
Oh, we have some breaking news here. Trevor Moore not in tonight for the Leafs.
Oh boy.
Get your Leafs stack fourth line stacked out.
Cannot play Leafs line 4. So you still got Islanders 4 though for you. So there you go.
Thank God.
Yeah. What about defensemen here? Schmidt, Theodore, anyone you're going to outside of those guys?
No, I don't really get to much, but you are the Vegas D whisperer, so you tell me. And I'm with you on Vegas as well. I don't normally target Minnesota because they've been so good, but now you're missing 2 of your top forwards and 1 of your top defensemen, and it's starting to look a little bit weak. What's that goalie's name? Kakinen or whatever. Yeah, he's starting to have a little, like, they let in 6 goals or something the other night, 5 goals to Edmonton.
He's in the AHL now because they have Dubnyk back.
Oh.
Yeah,
there you go.
So it sounds like he's
I like this call a lot, and I think I don't think people are going to play Vegas very much tonight.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I certainly am. And I'm glad they don't project that well. Like, they project okay, but not as like a top tier play, especially with Tampa there. I think you might be able to get him at like half the ownership, which is really, in both lines, that is, which is really awesome. Tonight, if I had to choose a Vegas defenseman, it would probably be Theodore, going with my Vegas 2 stack. They're similar prices. You just kind of know which line or which guy goes better with which line if you're stacking them up. But I think they're both one-offable. And then on the Minnesota side, Brodin is one of the punt guys I like for 3K. Just blocks some shots. He's going to play decent minutes. He's not great outside of that, though.
Yeah, like, I'm more of a, like, Brodin guy if there's, I don't know, if it's like a smaller slate or something. Like, he's got a few big performances, though, I guess. I take it back.
He's okay. I mean, he is what he is. He's a 3K defenseman. Like,
yeah,
he's gonna play minutes. That's it.
I always think of him as not having I always think of him having a good floor, not great upside, I guess, is what I would say. And like, so that's why I don't play him in GPPs very often in large slates. But like with Spurgeon out, maybe his upside's a little bit higher.
Yeah. Looks like still not a ton of responses for this free pass for NHL Osmo Plus going on right now. Only 39 people have followed all directions. We need to get this up. But I guess it's good for you guys if you're trying to win this. Guess the player that's going to score the most fantasy points tonight. It's super easy. You can guess a goal. You can guess a skater. Whatever you want to do. You just have to retweet, like, and reply. Follow Osmo_com and at Osmo NHL. Very, very simple directions. Only takes a couple seconds of your time, and you can win up to a $280 value. Maybe we'll do our guesses in the form of our 1% hat tricks
Sure.
After this last game. So let's get to it.
We don't have ownership, though, so we got to guess.
Yeah, we'll guess. Maybe someone in the Vegas game. Who knows? Chandler Stevenson, anybody? Arizona, San Jose, 2.6 implied total for the Coyotes. 3 for the Sharks, Darcy Kemper and Aaron Dell expected to go here. Any news on the Arizona side?
No, nothing.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Nothing noteworthy from them in the last 24 hours or so.
So I don't think we have the full lines yet. Like the one beat writer that claimed to Vox the other day that he always does lines and never actually does them didn't have lines, surprisingly, today. The website didn't have lines, so we're going off of what Rick Tocchet said, which was that Hall and Dvorak and Kessel would be together, but he also said they'll be together to start. So I don't know what that means, whether that means like to start the game or to start his Coyotes career. And then, like, I think these other lines are just guesses, but I don't know.
Yeah, it makes it pretty easy for which line you want to play for Arizona, though, right? I mean, how do you not
Does it, though? Like, what if they're just going to play them all, like, 15 minutes a game still? I don't know.
I'll take 15 minutes.
I think there's going to be so much recency bias with this news for Hall, and people are going to over-own him tonight. So I'm going to fade him.
Fair. I mean, that's the line I prefer anyways. So, like, getting away from just, like, the recency bias with Taylor Hall being traded and everyone, including myself, being excited about it. It's a good price for this line. San Jose is not a great defensive team. And then you've got Dell and Net. Who knows what Aaron Dell you're going to get there or what kind of goaltender you're going to get from the Sharks night to night. So the implied total, I think, will keep it down. They're priced like both of the Tampa lines, too. So maybe people are playing them together, Arizona 1 and Tampa, one of those lines without Kucherov. Maybe that's picking up some ownership for them, but I don't think they're going to be that highly owned outside of maybe Hall a little bit. On the San Jose side, San Jose 1 looks pretty cheap to me as well. That's really all I've got. Like, maybe
I'm right there with you. I agree with you on San Jose. I think that top line probably as well going to go under own tonight. There looks like new third lines as well. Also, they may Ante Sumela may play tonight in place of one of these bottom 6 forwards. Sorensen up on the third line. So, and then of course we had the report today about Brent Burns.
Yeah, not shooting. It was the report for anyone that missed it. Burns is going to shoot less. The new coach of the Sharks said, like they've gone out of their way to say that, which is, I mean, seems dumb, but who knows? I'm not a hockey coach, but yeah. So his numbers have been down anyways. So he hasn't been like our top guy anyways in the projections a lot of times this season. 6,200 here though. You can go with him or Carlson if you're going with the the Couture, Meyer, and Evander Kane line. So play Stalock for 40-plus saves. I don't think Stalock's going to see a lot of low-danger chances with that roster he's got in front of him. I think it's going to be a pretty tough spot. But maybe he sees volume. I don't know. High upside play, I suppose, but not really the guy I would go to. If I was punting with goalie, I think I would get up to like the 7K range if I could. What else do we got here? Anything?
Nothing.
All right. That's going to do it. Shout out to Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports for sponsoring us. Go join Yahoo. Use promo code AWESEMO to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. They've got NFL, NHL, NBA contests going on right now. We've been playing this NHL contest, this $12. It's filling up fast, so get into it. Lower management fees, less strong competition over there, and just better for your long-term ROI. So go support Yahoo. They support us. NBA main slate projections, ownership projections are free for today. If you're playing some NBA, if you're watching the deeper dive, and consuming all of our NBA content, feel free to check that out. And then the line changes are free today. So go check those out. Some of the big news for NHL consolidated. What's that?
We got to make our guesses.
Oh, yeah. 1% Hattie. Who you got?
You go first.
Oh, man. I was doing all the professional stuff. All right. I'll just pick someone quick.
Yeah, go on.
I think Pacioretty's going to be sub 5. So give me Pacioretty for $7,300.
Okay, I'm going to say Evander Kane.
I like that. Nice. Both late games, late night hammers. Thanks for joining, guys. I will be back by myself tomorrow. If you got any questions, tomorrow's the day to do it. Or if you want to go over anything from tonight's slate, hopefully we'll be reviewing some of your guys' lineups.
You can review my winning Islanders 4 lineup.
Yeah,
Zizekas,
Martin, Clutterbuck, stack for the win from old Kelly Canuck. So that'll be fun to review tomorrow. Hit the like button on your way out. It really helps us out. You guys know the deal. But we just did get ownership as well. So go check that out if you're a premium member. And if you're not, DM me. Hit us up somehow in Twitter or whatever, and we can help you out with packages if you're interested in that type of thing. All right, guys. See you tomorrow.